Hello guys, and welcome to this video. We are going to look at the common mistakes we make or we usually make when we're writing or programming in TypeScript or JavaScript. So without further ado, let's get into it, and thanks for joining. Okay, so we are going to look at some common errors or mistakes made while working in TypeScript. So this one we're going to look at it is called forgetting to initialize variables, right? So how does this mistake occur? You have a let's say count, and then this is of type number, and then what you do, just console log count here. So guys, this is a mistake, right? This is a mistake in the sense that you did not initialize the number here. It's undefined. Okay. Yes. So here, this count here is not, you can even put cost here. It's not initialized. So how to fix this error? You can assign this to 0, right? We have the initial number here, at least you don't give an error. Okay, so let's avoid writing code like that. Always let's remember to initialize our variables, because it's going to give the variable you just declared to be undefined if you don't initialize it. And another thing is using wrong data types, right? So let's say here, okay, wrong data types. It's also a common mistake that is usually made. Let's say we have here, okay, so let's say we have the again count here, right? It's a number, and then you initialize it with a string. It's going to give a mistake. It's going to give an error, of course, because it's a different data type, right? So to fix this, of course, we have to make sure this is a number. If not, you can always use this function pass int, and it's going to convert a string to a number if it is convertible. This one, okay? And we can go ahead and console log the count. You would see that this to here it's worked without any errors. And another common mistake we are going to look at, it is mutating state directly. What is this error? Mutating state directly can cause a bug, right? And it can be difficult to track changes. The solution is to use immutable data structures, or to make copies of the objects and arrays before modifying them. So we can do this in this way. Let's say given we have okay, so and then we have name to be John, and age to be 20. Okay, so let's say we want to change the person's age here. We are going to do what? We're going to say person.age. Okay, we assign to 30, which is of course going to modify this object here, right? And it's kind of like, changes the state directly. Okay, but how can we do it in a better way? By making a copy of the object and modifying it instead, like this one. So how we can do this? Let's say const updated. This one will be this one, and age, you can say and we can check here also log. So this is the better way of doing it. Okay, and for those of you who are using, let's say, Angular framework, and you have a lot of components, right? And you're detecting changes. You're going to realize that sometimes when you change or modify data direct in the object, the child component is not rendering because it is not triggering, that the function is not being called. That's going to render that component because you're accessing it directly like this. So for that, you can use, let's try to do this using it in a different way, right? Let's say we take this one, we change in this way, and we want to make sure that the changes we have there, they are going to help us to be able to trigger like rendering in our objects. We can also use like, let's say, object assign, which could be like this one, dot assign. Okay, target could is this one, and the person is person here, but where's our target? It's the person here. So this cannot be done like this, it's a const, and you can do it later. So what's going to happen here is it's going to copy all these values here and assign it to here again. We're assigning the variables here. That's what's going to happen. We can check this, of course, by doing this. Okay, so when do you need to use this? You can use this, let's say, if you are using React or Angular and then you've changed data in your object, but you realize that the changes are not detected in your child component. So you can first assign your objects, reassigning them again to their, actual object. That's copying the kind of similar to what this thing is doing here though, but yeah, it's like after you've done this in a different way. Okay, and another thing you can look at is not handling errors. Okay, so error handling is so important, right? When we don't use error handling, what happens is it's going to cause unexpected behaviors. Mostly it can crash, and to use this, we have to in a better way, we have to use try or catch blocks, right? So let's look at this code here. Okay. This is simply just a fetch request, and what we're doing here, fetching data, and the response, convert to JSON, and then console log data. But this is not having error handling. If there's any error, it's going to make the app to crash. If you're using if you're doing this on the server side, it's going to or in the front end, you're going to see a lot of errors in the log. So how to do this in a better way? We forgot to add one thing here, right? So we are going to add catch, and then we make sure we handle our errors. If you have any error handling functionality or function you've added in your application, you can call it in here. Otherwise, we can just say console error and error. Then executed, failed to fetch. Have you seen here? So there's an error, and it's given us an error here. Okay. And another thing here, it is mostly another mistake people make is not using strict mode. This mode here. For example, in tsconfig, compiler option, not implicitly this object here. Okay. And to fix this, you have to add in your TS file strict. It's going to help us to be able to detect a lot of mistakes and errors before we doing development. So this is another error. And another common mistake also, it is not using interfaces, right? Let's say we declare, a function here. Let's say not using interface. Okay, I'll give an example with a function, add numbers, and here, and we return a plus b, right? So this is a common mistake people make, and why? Because we did not define the interface for this one. So to fix this, we have to here, we're expecting a number, right? And we have to also assign here number, and we also here the return type is a number, right? And so when we do this, we would have done a better job. We don't want to give errors. Okay. Another mistake would be overusing the type any. This one here, it can compile, but it can also cause type errors at runtime. So we want to be sure that whatever we are writing, let's say, for example, let's make this to be get length. Okay, and then we have object, and we say any, and we don't know the return type, and then we're returning object of length. So at the moment, this won't give an error, right? But it can give an error if the type is different. If the type is not, if the type is now, we can't get the length of now, right? We can't get the length of undefined, and it's going to give an error, or it might even make the system to crash. So what we're going to do, we want to make sure that whatever type we pass in won't crash, right? And let's make something more generic. So how can we make this generic? We extend, okay, and then we add length, Okay. And here we are going to make it like more generic. Instead of using any, like we can make it in this way, and the return type, because it's the length we're getting, will be a number, right? So now we can test these two solutions here. Let's test this. Console log get length, and let's pass in a string and run it. It's given us 5. Okay, and let's pass in an array, and we say, oh sorry, let's pass in an array, and it's giving us the length, and what else? So this is kind of more, it's generic, of course, and at least we know that it won't give errors. Let's try something like this thing. What's the thing here? So here we've seen it will not be assignable to type of parameter length. Object literally may only specify non-properties. This does not exist on type this one. So adding this, it kind of like ensures us, and it gives us like a warning as to say we cannot use this because we're not able to get the length of an object in this way. On the other hand, the other code we had at first was like this, right? And we can call this other one here, let's say, and have you seen the difference? When you put object any, it will accept anything you put, even if you pass in an object here. But let's look at what's going to happen here. Here it's undefined, right? It's not even giving you a warning because it's accepting any here. So this is not good practice. We want to ensure that when we use types, we use in this way so that we can be able to detect errors before we even push our code. All right. So another common mistake, it is not using generics. Okay, this is a very, very common mistake, right? So let us look at an example, right? Let's look at function and then code duplicate, and let's say we have type here, and our value will be of type t, and it's returning any type here. Okay, and yeah, so let's say const array, and what else we have? We're going to say this one here, assign it to an empty array. Okay, and then const array, but we were supposed to say any here. Okay, and we say for let's I to be equal to 0, okay, and I should be less than 2, and I increment. Okay, and we want to push to push our value to there, right? Okay, and we return okay. So what is the mistake here, right? What is the mistake here? The mistake here is like it is harder to maintain code, right, when we're not making it like fully generic. We have assigned a type here, which is, of course, you can assign this to any type, but here we've passed in the variable any, and what's going to happen here? What's going to happen? Let's see. This code here is not reusable because here we've assigned it already to type N. It's not fully generic. And to fix this, to make it fully generic, what can we do, right? We have to change this type here to this one here. In this way, we can reuse this code in a lot of different ways, and it's much more generic. So if you're writing a generic class, always remember having anything specific in the function or like using the types any, it's kind of like, increases more chances of your code crashing at runtime. And another thing, it's a small one, but really like could matter depending on the team you're working with, is not following the convergence, right? For example, the naming convergence could be, I don't know, let's say you have a function here, my function, and how can it be better? It's not returning anything, right? So of course we just put the time type to the void, and depending on how you're programming, if you're going this, but I like to have my function written in this way also. And yeah, so these are some of the common mistakes made while it's working in Typescript. And yeah, I think that's all from me. So guys, there you have it. Thank you for staying to the end of the video, and I hope this is going to help you become better developers. Join me in the following videos, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. See you. Bye.